official, the computers are taking over. Or are they? Hello super friends, and welcome back to another episode of Superhero Saturday, where we talk about the arts of superheroes, storytelling, and so much more. My name is Annie, and in today's video, I am going to let ChatGPT, or whatever the AI is called, help me design a superhero character concept. Now, I know this whole AI thing has been going around a lot lately. Believe me, I've seen it both at work and in the media and on the videos that I watch of other people on YouTube, so I know that it's kind of been around. So I might already be a little late to the party, but I'm gonna do it anyway because I thought this would be a really fun idea. So just to complete the cringe and wrap it all together, please like and subscribe. At this point, I have never actually tried ChatGPT. I know that my dad has, and some of the folks at my work have. I've read some of the stuff that it has produced, so I have some concept of what's going to happen or what it will give me, but I need to figure out what kind of questions to ask it and how to give it a good parameter so that we can create some kind of superhero concept that actually makes sense and might even be a good idea or a bad idea. And then I will literally draw the superhero concept from that description that the AI produced and see what shakes out. If this goes well, or you guys think this is a fun idea that I should keep trying, then maybe I could go ahead and do like a supervillain concept as well, or maybe a super team, or who knows, something else that we could really pull together. So with all that out of the way, let's flip the screen, super friends, and get started. To start off with, of course, I opened up ChatGPT and started a conversation. The first question I asked was, of course, can you design a superhero for me? It wasn't really interested in just spitting out some random nonsense at me just yet, so I had to kind of guide it by asking what kind of superpowers there were in the world. It doesn't believe that superpowers exist, so that kind of made me laugh and started me on a different track. So I asked it what are some unusual superpowers, and although it doesn't have any personal beliefs or opinions about the word unusual, it did give me an example, a good list of examples of what some really random and really hilarious sounding superpowers, including control over the temperature of toilet seats, which was particularly strange. But I decided to give it a little bit of help and specified a superhero with the power of control over condiments, because I thought that sounded fun. It did immediately come back with a description of a character it called the Condiment King, which sounded to me a little familiar, and when I got to the list in the description of this character drowning enemies in a pool of their least favorite condiment and using condiment guns, I started to get concerned that this wasn't so much a hero as it was a villain. But going with whatever it gave me, I decided to ask it to create a costume design for this character, at which point it immediately forgot what was going on. It does not have the ability to create designs, and it immediately told me that the Condiment King is not an original character that it came up with. It is actually a character from DC, and big surprise, the Condiment King is a villain. So my suspicions were correct. And ChatGPT blatantly plagiarized the internet, so I had to go back and try again. I asked it to create an original character design, at which point it came up with the idea for Flavor Master, which after a quick Google search seemed to be not so much a character, if not a popular character, so I decided to go with it. In order to get it to kind of give me a little bit more information about this Flavor Master, I tried to ask it a few questions to, build on this design, but it did not remember anything that it had previously told me. So that was a bit of a bummer. I then tried to take a little bit of a different track and just have it generically come up with a superhero secret identity, at which point it generated a completely different original superhero character, or potentially an original superhero design. I didn't fact check this one too much. Since it was a completely different design, I decided to stick with my Flavor Master one and just go from there and make my own design using this description. Flavor Master is a tall, lean superhero with short hair, green eyes, and a confident demeanor. He wears a tight-fitting red and yellow suit with condiment-inspired patterns all over it. His suit has built-in compartments that hold various types of condiments, from ketchup and mustard to soy sauce and hot sauce. For this, I took a little bit of creative leeway and turned it into an apron, which seemed to make sense to me. If he's so into food, he might have an apron, which would make sense as a built-in compartment for his costume. Flavor Master is a bit of a foodie, and he takes his power over condiments very seriously. He believes that a good meal is essential to a happy life and that his powers can make any dish more flavorful and enjoyable. He is an easygoing hero who enjoys making people smile and having a good time. Flavor Master has the ability to manipulate and control any type of condiment. He can make ketchup fly through the air and douse his enemies, create a powerful mustard cloud to obscure his enemy's vision, and shoot soy sauce like a laser beam. He can also use his powers to enhance the taste of any food he comes into contact with, making even the blandest dishes pop with flavor. However, Flavor Master's powers are useless against dry food or foods that do not contain any condiments. He also has a bit of a sweet tooth and can be easily distracted by desserts or other sugary treats. Flavor Master's powers manifested when he was experimenting in his kitchen one day. He accidentally spilled a bottle of hot sauce onto his hand and was surprised to find that he could control it. Since then, he has made it his mission to share his culinary expertise and make the world's food tastier, one dish at a time. Now, I'm not sure how having control over condiments would make you a culinary expert. However, I liked the idea of him having some kind of accident in the kitchen, so I ended up going with him accidentally cutting off the pinky finger of one of his hands. I just thought it gave it a little bit of extra drama and a little bit of a physical tell, I guess, for who this character was. For the rest of his costume design, I did take more artistic liberty, including adding some things that kind of followed along with the accident-prone nature of his backstory. So I have him wearing these big scientific lab-type goggles over his face, as well as these knee pads and shoes that would give him a little bit more mobility and protection in the field. I gave his jumpsuit just a straight yellow color with these patterns of what I think are ketchup and mustard bottles. For some reason, I've got ketchup and mustard as being his favorites, go-to condiments. I also shoved his apron full of different types of tools that he might need to use, although I'm not sure how he would use them. And I also put sleeves on his arms that kind of match those little paper cups that you used to get at fast food restaurants. That would be for, your ketchup and mustard and other condiments that you can put it in and move it. I just thought that would be a cool little design element to add, especially since the red and yellow are pretty strong colors for all over the costume, so incorporating some of that light white color from his apron to his sleeves to his shoes would just give it a little bit more of a well-rounded look. And then with this pose, of course, I have him manipulating or levitating his ketchup and mustard, his favorites, and with a little smirk on his face that shows his easygoing nature, I think this design comes together to accurately depict this Flavor Master superhero character design. If you'd like to go ahead and take this description and make it your own, feel free to do so, super friends. How do you think Flavor Master would look if you were to create a character off of this design? Have fun with it, even if it's just for practice. So there you have it, friends. That is my AI-produced superhero concept, with a little bit of professional help. As you guys know, I am a professional writer, so this isn't really a surprise that I've seen this making the rounds. As someone who writes copy for a living, I know that writing follows certain patterns and formulas. And as a writer, I've studied those patterns and formulas and I put them to use. So to me, it's no surprise that with all of our computing technology collectively throughout humanity, we can come up with a computer that kind of breaks that code, or at least humans have put in the code for it to use, and it can spit out stuff that looks very human, follows all the rules, and looks really shiny and sparkly. But from my limited experience so far, and not having used it, but having seen it from other people using it, my kind of initial conclusion before even starting this video is that a lot of this AI stuff exclusively follows those patterns that are set in its programming. So the first couple of times it might spit up stuff that is actually really good, that looks professional, that looks like, how did this come together in just a few minutes? But then the more that you plug in the same type of stuff, the more that you try to get it to come up with more original ideas, you're ending up having to be the one giving those original ideas kind of a seed into the copy. Otherwise, it produces the same type of content over and over and over again, and it loses that kind of spark of newness, of novelty that you see when you first get started. So while I don't think that copywriters or authors like me are going anywhere anytime soon, I do think that this will kind of streamline some of the processes, because For example, like a lot of the copy that I write goes into like 5 different places at the same time, and it's some different version of the same thing. So if we're describing a product over here on Facebook and on YouTube and on Google Ads, it's all basically the same copy, just kind of reiterated in a different formula saying the same thing. So I could see this definitely working for some of that type of copy, as long as there's supervision from a human to make sure all of that is working properly. What do you guys think of this? Is this just kind of a crazy idea? Have you seen this work in other people's content? Do you think this is actually a tool that could be more in use in the future? Go ahead and pop those down in the comments below and we'll continue the conversation there. And if you at least enjoyed watching me play around with this, go ahead and give us a big thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more superheroic content. If you want to see some superheroes and superhero characters that were not designed by an AI, but were designed by a real human person, you can go over to our website at www.fearless9.com and check out my books there. Thanks again so much for watching, Super Friends, and we'll see you next time.